So, thought I'd do a video on this, which is Thumby. It's a gadget that I got through the post on Monday, a few days ago, and it's by Ken Burns and a company called Tinycircuits. They did a Kickstarter. I believe it's their first Kickstarter. I'm not sure. I think it's their first one that they've tried, and they did a Kickstarter for this the world's smallest games console. Handheld games console. It's got. I kind of just randomly saw it on the somewhere. It might be Twitter or something, and I because I trusted the company already. I mean, already bought something from Tinycircuits. It was a bit of a no-brainer. I mean, that's going to go in my cabinet of wonders, basically, and it's just an interesting project because Ken Burns had showed this off, and I'd seen it actually. I'd seen it 3 or 4 years ago. He'd shown it off at a convention, and decided that the time was right to sort of go into production and do a Kickstarter, right? Which I think absolutely, was completely a smash hit, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think they were expecting the kind of response they got, which is about 4,500 orders and $200,000 in sort of revenue. Is that what you call it? So yeah, it's done really, really well for them. Everybody went a bit crazy for these things. So here we go. I'm gonna do an unboxing here. So this has come through, as I said, it's the first batch. I think they're still sending them out. This is the default grey colour, and there are other colours, gold, I can't remember what they all were. I only wanted really a grey one just to say I'd got one, and just so I could stick it in my cabinet, really. But that's how small it is. It's definitely, there is no quibble that that is the smallest in the world. It's funny because everybody brings these things out and they always go, yeah, it's the smallest games console ever created, and then it's just like, no, it isn't. So, just as a, I suppose let's put a sort of comparison here. Sorry, it's not very professional. Well, here's a, here's a real Game Boy Pocket. Sorry, I forgot the name of it. Game Boy Pocket. And there's the Thumby. Pretty small, but even when you compare it to sort of, this was supposedly the world's smallest RetroPie console. It actually probably was at the time. This has a Raspberry Pi in there, and it's about the same footprint as the Raspberry Pi. Obviously it's a lot thicker, so he did pretty well creating that thing. But then Thumby, destroy. Obviously this doesn't have the kind of, it doesn't have the capabilities of this. It's very limited. There's about 4 or 5 games on there. I haven't really had a look at it. I've turned it on once. So this is kind of it. Tinycircuits, Thumby. There's a menu here where I believe, is it 4 or 5 games? 3, 4, 5 games. I looked at a couple of them, and one is recognizable as Tetris. Obviously they've not used the Tetris name because that's copyrighted, so they call it Tiny Blocks. There's another one which was basically Snake, and again they've not called it Snake. Some of the ones I looked at, I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on, but so yeah, it does. I mean, it works. It's blocks. you have to use the top, the edge of your nail to press these buttons. Start. Okay. But look at that. I mean, there it is. It's Tetris. Completely usable. There's a rotate there somewhere. There we go. It's absolutely nuts. Anyway, Thumby, the Kickstarter's ended, but if you want one of these at some stage, they're going to be available on Tinycircuits, I would imagine. It's been a big hit for them, so, and I'm really happy to see that, because I think it's such a cool company, Tinycircuits. I mean, sorry I keep going on about it, but you know, they make the stuff themselves. And then they open source the stuff, and there's you know, the software, the support. It's absolutely, it really just. Sorry, keep going. Anyway, Thumby, thanks for watching.